Greetings, my dear friends. This is Dreamweaver Mystics, as always. Today, I want to talk about something that occupies probably the second place in our thoughts about the unknown, right after the question of what happens after death. I'm talking about karma. Yes, that infamous karma. What awaits us? Do our actions come back to us? Does the boomerang return, whether we throw it consciously or not? First, what is karma? It's one of the central concepts in Indian religions and philosophies, the universal law of cause and effect. According to this law, a person's actions determine their fate. You know, the longer I live in this world, the more I'm convinced that karma is real. Why do I think that? First of all, because of my own life. I'm far from a saint, and I've received what I deserved more than once. Before I dive deeper into this topic, I want to mention something that happened recently. Someone tried to blackmail me, wanted to harm my channel, sent me a file that caused problems for my computer. I had to spend time and resources to fix everything. I wrote to this person afterward. Why did you do this? Did it bring you joy? Did it make your life better? I talked about the law of conservation of energy. If something decreases somewhere, something else increases somewhere else. This law is empirically established. It doesn't directly relate to karma, but it clearly demonstrates that our energy returns to us. If we assume, and this has practically been proven scientifically, that our thoughts are material, and thoughts with intention turn into actions and even create things in this world, then there is a certain distribution of the energy we transmit into our world, and it returns to us. Do good, receive good. Do harm, receive harm. I tried to explain this to the person. They called me various unpleasant names. In the end, I wished them well. A few months passed, and this person wrote to me saying that unpleasant things had happened in their life. They thought they could do bad things and receive good in return. That's not logical. In the process of communication, we understood each other. The person apologized, and that was the end of that story. There were several other stories not related to the channel, but not everything is so straightforward. Much depends on people, events, and other factors. But I can tell you from personal experience that karma in relation to me works almost instantly. I do something not ideal, consciously or unconsciously, and I receive a response very quickly. I don't know why it works so fast for me, but it does. And this applies not only to not ideal actions, but also to good ones. The most important thing is that I started paying attention to these processes. I began to understand what and how. There's a belief that karma from past lives works until around the age of 30. After that, you begin a new life. The first 30 years you work off karmic debts. For example, this applies to meeting people. People meet, live together, start a family, and then separate. They think, what happened? We loved each other. But perhaps in a past life there was some unfinished story that needed to be completed. Time, like death, is an illusion. It's just a short pause connected to the irreversible biological processes that occur in our reality. Now, someone might argue, but there are people who do terrible things and live well. Everything is good for them. Where is karma? Why doesn't it work for them? Where is your law of conservation of energy? Here's what I understood. Small acts of unkindness, let's call them petty misdeeds, receive consequences almost immediately, just like good deeds. In support of this, I have many stories that people send me. For example, one person wrote that money they donated came back to them multiple times in unexpected ways. The key was that they donated with the right intention, and the most important thing is to notice and see these processes. That in itself is a kind of gift. But what about those who seem to get away with more serious things? Why don't they receive their consequences right away? I think this is a common misunderstanding. Remember history. Take a ruler who was considered a good person personally. He had flaws, but as a person he wasn't bad. Yet he made decisions that had terrible consequences. His fate was not one anyone would wish for. What happened to him and his family? He was even canonized, made a saint. Imagine a saint is someone who allowed things that led to suffering for many people. As I always say, power gives you not only great opportunities, but also great responsibility. The blame for the fall of an empire lies not only on that ruler, but also on many of his predecessors. But the last one is always seen as more guilty than the rest. He received his consequences, but not only he did, his entire family. After everything, he showed more strength of character than during his entire reign. So he deserved both titles, the one associated with his mistakes and the one associated with his suffering. Let's take another example. A revolutionary leader, an undoubtedly brilliant person. His incredible energy and charisma launched a movement that had enormous consequences, and perhaps one of the most difficult fates for a person, to be preserved, lying as a body on display in a public place, with people looking at you through glass. There's a belief that as long as the physical form hasn't completely transitioned, a person cannot move on to the next stage. They remain connected to this world. And the structure where this body rests has been compared to ancient energy channels. Energy flows through this physical form. Gatherings, events, all of it transforms into energy that feeds something. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Is that what he wanted? Of course not. I'm surprised when some argue against allowing this body to finally rest. In my opinion, if we believe in immortality of the spirit, we should let go of the physical form faster. This is now practiced in many cultures. What I consider ideal is cremation. It's a delicate, debatable topic, and everyone has their own opinion. I want to tell you one more story. It didn't happen to me, but it's very clear and instructive. When I was young, I worked as a painter's apprentice. I had a teacher, a master of his craft. Something happened to his mother. She encountered her neighbor. This person was known for difficult behavior. Despite personal challenges, he was physically strong. One day, she made a comment to him. He responded with aggression. She suffered a serious injury. The times were difficult. No one responded to her complaint. Authorities came and left. What do you think happened? After some time, this person faced serious health problems. He became very ill. The doctors were surprised by how quickly things progressed. Everyone looked at this woman with a mix of respect and curiosity. They asked, "How did it happen?" She said, "I don't know. Justice has its own ways." What happened in this situation? I think of Themis, the goddess of justice. She holds scales. The scales slowly accumulate. This person wasn't a complete villain. He did all kinds of petty things, caused harm in small ways, but not too much. And then there was this heavy blow, and the scales tipped sharply. What could be expected? His chapter in this life, in this world, was closed. The law of conservation of energy worked. Despite all his physical strength, he departed from this life. Maybe in another form, he's now learning different lessons. It all depends on how our world is structured. Is it a school, a prison, or maybe a place of growth? Many believe that. Perhaps the next chapter of his journey will be different. Send me your stories of karma working in unexpected ways. I'll make a video. Write to me. There are still many questions about how this mechanism works. Many believe, including myself, that our world is not perfect, but perhaps we're mistaken. Perhaps our world is an incredibly perfect learning mechanism. We just don't see many of the processes happening on other planes. All information is recorded, archived, analyzed. Someone recently wrote to me. He didn't want me to mention his name, so I'll tell it in my own words. He lost faith in life. He was disappointed in this world and doubted that there's even a drop of justice here. He lost a significant amount of money invested in a project. He has a family, children. In the end, things worked out. People helped him. But he wrote to me, "What kind of unjust world is this? Some person took our resources and is probably somewhere comfortable, enjoying life." What can I say to that, except that I don't know if that person is comfortable or if things have already turned for them. Perhaps something difficult has already happened to them, or will happen in the future, or with their close ones. We're connected to those close to us.